Issue 233, 2016. Hello to my TikTok and YouTube audience. YouTube, I only got one positive comment, so you're only going to get this one video for Game Informer, and TikTok gets the rest. This is Game Informer. This will be a 10-minute video. I'm just going to go through whatever catches my eye, and we'll do a retrospective. We'll talk about certain things where Sonic went wrong. There's different articles, but let's see what interests me, and I'll share it with all of you. This is from the letters column. I really appreciated Andrew Reiner's recent article, How to Introduce Your Toddler to Gaming. He's definitely right that there aren't many games appropriate for children, but it never occurred to me that even Mario or Sonic could be seen as too violent or scary. I grew up with these games, but I see where he's coming from. My parents also monitored games that I bought, and if it wasn't until I was 17 that I convinced my dad to let me buy some N-rated games. Looking back, I really appreciate that my parents set those limits. I applaud Reiner for taking the father role so seriously. Hopefully, developers will take notice of this and challenge themselves. So let's go to the next one. I really enjoyed Reiner's advice on how to introduce young children. Penelope, my own little daughter Penelope, I hear Reiner and Kyle talk about their children on the podcast and the Chronicles video series sometimes, and it was great to see him sharing more personal stories. I like this last part here. Now, if we could only teach kids how to be more gracious when they beat us at Call of Duty. Here's some nerd talk. Speaking of Zelda, remember when Nintendo dropped the bombshell with the official Zelda timeline, the whole three-way time split thing? And that gave us the worst cop-out of an explanation ever for it. My friend and I ranted forever about how Nintendo doesn't know anything about how these time travel works. We even created our own uber complex theory. I still consider it canon over Nintendo's own reasoning to this day. The times you want to cancel Nintendo. 4K is here, kind of, sort of. It's complicated. So this is introducing the PS4 Pro. Maximum seating distance to perceive 4K versus screen size. So there are your dimensions. Very important. The Weird Frontier. Before his controversies, Justin Roiland, how Rick and Morty's creator is taking on virtual reality. Okay. Collecting history. How a small publisher is bringing digital games to disc. Can you tell what this is about? So, while MMO's lifespan seem finite, any digital-only release could potentially be removed from its marketplace if the publisher developer chooses. Konami pulled Silent Hill demo, and after the core game was canceled, Microsoft ended 1 versus 100. As new hardware is introduced into the marketplace, what happens to the previous generation of digital-only games? So that's the big question that looms. So, in case you're wondering, this is introducing Enter Limited Run games. What happens to all those old games that are digital? So this is introducing Limited Run to the universe. Call of Duty gives back. The Call of Duty Endowment uses the series name recognition of players to help veterans find work. Hey, Phil Spencer, if you read this article, there you go. That's your way of giving back for Microsoft. Where Sonic went wrong, when Mario's biggest challenger took a wrong turn, how Sega hopes to fix it. Let me see what we're referring to here, because this was 2016. I think this was on the cusp of Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces, but not yet with the, what is it, the one that I skipped out on? Sonic Evolutions or Frontiers, whatever that is. The Games of PAX Wests. This one looks familiar. I think this is isn't this Fable or whatever this is? They changed the name of this. This was called Secret Legend, but I think this is that isometric game. Remember when Nathan Fillion was doing video games? Top 10 politicians. These are top 10 fictional politicians. There seems to be President Adam Benford from Resident Evil 6. Bill Clinton's in the NBA Jam. Of course, you got to put a real politician, fake politician in there. Mike Hagar. Many politicians claim to be tough on crime, but Metro City Mike Hagar is willing to roll up his sleeves and clean up the streets himself. Just kidding. Hagar doesn't do shirts. He doesn't do shirts at all. No. He just suplexes his way through the streets. Yeah, I was like, who could play Mike Hagar? Maybe Mike Ditka. Could you imagine Mike Ditka and a young Matt Damon as Cody, right? And then you get Jet Li as Guy. and they would just there's no real dialogue. It's just like a Bruce Lee movie. Everybody's just punching and kicking for 2 hours, and the audience gets up and leaves one by one. Is this all they're doing, punching and kicking? This is boring. Look at Mike Ditka. He can't even I'm gonna get you, you know. And then number one is John Henry Eden. This is Fallout 3. So is an obligation of every president that preceded him. Unfortunately, the self-aware AI in charge of the wasteland ends up being as trustworthy as you'd expect a patriotic supercomputer. So the president's a supercomputer. I never knew. The legal repercussions of Pokemon Go. How a cultural phenomenon is changing state laws. Remember Pokemon Go? How bad it got when it first came out? They're banning 3,000 registered sex offenders. Yeah, there were a whole bunch of horror stories. Let's go over them real quick. So this one is Pidgey's Law. State representative. I play the game. I love it. I'm having a blast. I started playing it right after it came out, and my chief of staff and I were both playing. I like how politicians are finding time to play Pokemon Go. So this is dealing with Pokestops and wildlife preservation. The Dunes preservation workers were livid. Cassidy, the politician, realized that while Pokemon Go was bringing communities together, it was also damaging wildlife. So there would be Pidgey's Law for these Pokestops, and which was, I don't know, I'm sure it passed. It would force the removal of properties deemed dangerous, ecologically sensitive, historic, or privately owned. So, you don't want to go to people's houses with Pokemon Go. Banning sex offenders. Yeah. So Pidgey's Law, sex offenders, blending digital and physical space. So legal issues to these. I don't remember. Is literally some of the footholds. I remember there was a bus driver that crashed into cars in Japan because he was playing Pokemon Go instead of doing his damn job. Digital and physical space. Yeah. So there were a lot of problems Pokemon Go caused. Now people still play it, but Introducing the Pokemon PlayStation 4 Slim, and I think these are brand new controllers here. I don't know what these are. Gembox. Oh my God, Transformers Generations. Look at this. There's some cool shit here. Weird shit. So that's this one here, the fractured butt hole. Or not butthole, right? So I don't have this one. I can get it on the Switch. I can get both games on the Switch. I have the first one though. I have the Stick of Truth. And they were still doing 3DS games. This is Pokemon Sun and Moon. And wasn't it disgusting when they came up with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon? I bet you all bought it, thought that was it. Goodbye 3DS Pokemon. But then they came up with Ultra to just finger you. Check that out. Super Mario Maker was just coming out. And look at this thing here. Does anybody have this? The Epic Loot. Look at this. This is the Pip-Boy Deluxe Bluetooth. What is it, like a little TV? What do you do with this? Ranking the controllers, first-party controllers. So you got Sega Master System at number 25. 24 is Xbox controller. 23 is the Jaguar. 22 is Sega Saturn controller. I don't recognize some of these down here. Some of these are weird. Sega Saturn 3D controller. Wii Remote Nunchuck. 19 is Sega Genesis. Nintendo 64 is 18. PlayStation controller 17. Wii U Pro Controller at 16. I like that. Well, I like the gamepad more, actually. Coming in at number 15, PlayStation 3 6-axis controller. 14 is NES controller. Wii U gamepad is 13. GameCube controller is number 12. I like the GameCube controller. The shoulder buttons are great. The C-Stick. Dreamcast at number 11. 10 is GameCube Wavebird controller. PlayStation 3 DualShock controller. Then at 8 is PlayStation DualShock. 7 is Xbox Controller S. PlayStation 2 is 6. PlayStation 4 controller. Xbox 360 controller number 4. SNES controller number 3. Xbox One controller 2. And Xbox One Elite controller. So this is the number 1 controller. Is it still number 1 in your mind? What do you think? The episodes to watch before of South Park before you get to Fractured Butthole. And there we have superhero Cartman. So this is issue 233. If TikTok, you'll get more. YouTube, you know what to do. Positive comments, likes, and I will get more out to you. There you go.